Usually when people tell me they don't have enough traffic into their business or they don't have enough leads and that's their core problem, that's their biggest challenge, then first of all, I get that. But secondly, they are completely wrong. My name is Wilco Kreij, and for a long time I've thought that, I had that same feeling, right? I thought, oh, it's all about getting more traffic into my business, right? And because of that, I was always focused on that. But what's going to happen is once, like, let's say this is your website and you have someone actually visiting your page, and there's going to be like 100 people into your page, right? And from all those people, let's say only one person actually makes a purchase. They actually become a customer. So now out of 100 people, you got one customer. And let's say that is probably worth, I don't know, maybe, let's say you sell a $50 item, right? So basically you're getting $50 paid out of 100 visitors, right? And that means you only have 50 cents to spend on that on average on every visitor, right? And that's going to be hard to, depending on what market you're in, it's going to be hard to do that at a profit, because obviously you don't just want to break even. You want to make sure that you actually have a profit. So maybe you want to spend only 25 cents, and that's going to be a tricky thing to do, right? So a lot of time people are looking at it from like, how do I get more people in to my website without, at this cost, at the 25-cent cap? And if you look at it from that perspective, it's going to be tricky, right? So what instead you should be doing is start focusing on, how do I actually make sure that out of these 100 people, I actually get, for example, 5 customers, right? And maybe their average lifetime value, the amount of money they actually spend, isn't just $50, right? But maybe it's like $80, right? You have some kind of an upsell. So now it means that you didn't just make $50, but now you made $400. And that means that every visitor is worth $4, right? So how do we actually do that? That's what this video is really about, because this video is about split testing, right? Because if you want your website to convert, it doesn't really matter whether you're trying to sell something or whether you're trying to get someone to opt into your email list or whatever it is, right? When you try to do that, there's 2 things you can do. Either you can just guess, grab a document, start typing, like, what's the headline, what is going to convince someone to enter their email address or to make a purchase, right? And you can just guess, put it out there. And that's obviously one way of doing it. But the smarter way of doing it is to actually test it out, right? Actually see whether it works and what actually works better. And the way we do that is what we call split testing, also known as A/B testing, right? And what this means is that, let's say someone goes to your website, right? This again is a person, and they go to your website. Normally they would just see your website as is. It's a static page. You'll have some headline. Maybe this is an opt-in page, or you collect someone's email address. If you actually run a split test, you actually have 2 variations of this page, or could even be more, but let's say 2, right? With a different headline, just a different kind of thing that would actually get someone to opt in. And then at random, that person is going to either see version A or version B, right? And every single time someone joins your website, someone visits your website, they're gonna see one of these 2 versions. And then automatically you need to keep track of like how many people are actually opting in to this page and how many people are opting into this page. And after a while, you'll see like, hey, this version, if I have this, it converts at 20%. Well, this one actually converts at 30%, for example. And then you know this is the winner. Now, you don't wanna stop there, right? You really don't wanna stop there, because then you wanna create the next test, which is to compare this version against a new version, right? So like a version number C, because that way you continuously start to improve, right? So how do we actually do that? Because over time, I've done a lot of these kind of split tests, and it's not always easy, right? So first of all, you need to have a piece of software that actually does that. And there's quite a few on the market. So for example, I've been using Visual Website Optimizer for quite a while, but I checked out their pricing recently, and they're not cheap anymore. Like they're very, I would say, easy to use, but as you can see, it's not as affordable for the beginner, right? So there's some other alternatives as well, like for example, Optimizely. I've never used them. And as far as I know, they're slightly more expensive as well. They don't even show their full pricing on their website. But I've been doing some more digging to see, hey, what are some other tools that we can use? And what I actually started using recently is a really cool product from Google called Google Optimize, right? So if you search for Google Optimize, you'll find it. And this is Google's way of split testing. And it's actually a really good tool. And I always thought like, wow, it's really, really expensive. And it is. If you want to use their full version, it really is. But the cool part is with their free version, you can run up to 5 tests at the same time on your website. If you have multiple websites, you can run 5 tests per website. Like if you have 2 websites, like in my case, for example, we have UpViral, as you can see right here, and we have Connectio. So we can run 5 different split tests on Connectio.io, as well as 5 tests on UpViral.com, right? So that means 10 tests at any given time. And that should be more than enough because you don't want to test out too much, right? So what do? How do you actually do this? Well, first of all, the first thing you do if you want to start testing things out is you start to look at like what is the low hanging fruit. So you want to ask yourself, like, what are the things that I can have the biggest impact on? Because if you just have a website and you're like, oh, I'm just going to change the color from green to yellow, for example, that's not going to be your lowest hanging fruit, right? And the way you do that is, first of all, you ask yourself, like, what are the most important pages? Because like if you have a website and you don't have that much traffic on a certain page, it's not going to make that much big of a deal. But maybe you have a page where like most of your clients or most of your traffic actually goes into, you know, if you improve conversions there 10%, it's going to have a major difference, right? So what are the most important pages? And then you start asking yourself, like, what has the highest impact, right? So I'll give you an example. Here you see one of our landing pages for Connect Explore, one of our tools if you want to improve your Facebook ads targeting, if you want to have a higher ROI on your Facebook ads by making sure your ads are seen by the right people. This is one of the pages how we get that out in the world, right? And we know, like, this is a long page. We know the title is going to have a much bigger impact than, for example, something that's somewhere down here in the bottom, right? So always start testing with the most important things, like what are the things that will have the biggest impact. Now, secondly, is you want to then obviously set up the split test. And again, it depends on what tool you want to use. So for example, we are going to use a combination of tools. Like for some things on our main website, it would be, you know, using Google Optimize. But at the same time, if, for example, we run in a viral campaign, like in a viral campaign, it will make sure that you get more traffic into your website, right? So you will have an opt-in page using a viral, right? People can opt in, and then from there, every person will get their own unique invite URL where you can say like, hey, I got an incentive. I got something that you can actually share with your friends, right? So like, hey, if you shared it and you get 3 of your friends to actually sign up, they share it on their Facebook timeline, they share it on LinkedIn, on WhatsApp, and all these other things. And as soon as they get 3 of their friends to actually sign up, they will get an unlocked, like for example, a bonus, like a coupon code or something else of a freebie. In this way, you get a lot more people to actually, you know, you get a lot more traffic into your website. But even with this, you want to test out like, hey, for this opt-in page that we have right here, how do we get more people to actually opt in, right? And once they opted in and they're on the page where we say like, hey, we got an incentive for you, you want to share this with your friends, what page would actually get more people to actually do that and more people to actually refer? Because then you'll have, like, if you optimize both of these things, the impact will actually quadruple, right? So because we use UpViral for that, like also in UpViral, you can easily do that. Like right now, this is an example campaign where we just created a simple landing page. If you want to do a split test, there's nothing complicated. All you need to do is just create a new lead capture page on the side. And for example, I would just select the same template, and I would then just perhaps have a different title to, you know, what I think would actually persuade people to actually opt in. And that's all I need to do to start a split test. So it's not complicated at all. Right now, automatically, if someone goes to this page, they'll either see this version or this version. And I can then just go into the stats and see exactly which landing page gets more people to actually opt in. Obviously, right now, it is all empty because it is a fake campaign, but you'll get the idea. Same for the share page. Right here, I've created 3 different pages. So as soon as someone opts in, they'll get to see either this version, or this version, or this version. And that way we know, boom, that is, after all, we know like this one gets more people to actually share, and we activate that one, right? So that's really what it's all about. It's not as hard as it sounds, but one thing is really, really important, and that's really a core lesson I want to share with all of you here, is that you need to keep it simple. And that is so important. And because in the past, I've had moments where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go all in on split testing. I'm gonna go ninja style. I'm gonna do a lot of split testing. And because I didn't keep it simple, but I was going to like ninja style and I was just too advanced, I didn't actually do it, right? So now I do it really simple. I do a couple of tests at every same time. And what I've actually done is I use a system called Trello, where I've just created a new Trello board where I can just list ideas that we have that, which could actually improve conversions. And then once we have an idea like, hey, this could actually work, we move it to preparing. And that means we're going to create 2 different pages to make sure it's all, we have the 2 variations ready. And then we're like, all right, let's run it, right? And we say like, hey, start it on a certain date. And we know exactly which are the tests that are being ran. And after it's actually done, then we would just move it to done, right? And that way we're just going to run a couple of tests at any given time, but it's going to help us to, over time, every single month, we're going to improve our conversions. And one thing that, again, to just show you how important this really is, let's say you have a funnel and you have, you collect someone's name and email address, right? And then after that, you would have, let's say a sales video, right? And you say like, hey, you can actually buy a product right here, right? Like, so you're selling something. And if they actually make a purchase, let's say you would then have an upsell, right? Where you also sell something, right? And let's say, just as an example, you get 25% conversion right here. Let's say you get let's say a 3% conversion here, just as a figure of speech. And then right here, you get a 10% conversion, right? And this is let's say a $197 product, and this is let's say a $297 product, right? If you calculate that, then every visitor, right, would be worth on average, so let's say you get 100 people in, it means you get 25 leads, right? And that means that every visitor at the end of the line of this, with these stats, is worth $1.66, give or take, right? Now let's say we would actually run a split test and we would say like, hey, right, this first page we get it to convert at 35%. This page we get it to convert, let's say at 4%, right? Just slightly better, small improvements. And this one we get to convert at, let's say, 15%, right? Like these could all be higher for sure, but just small improvements like that, it would mean that every visitor, let me just do the math, it would be worth a total of $3.38. So that means we more than doubled it from what we had before to this, all with just small improvements, because every step is actually optimized. So I just want to share that in case you think you have a traffic problem, then definitely start running some split tests. Obviously, I need to say that if you don't have any traffic at all, there's no way you can actually split tests. It's always that chicken and the egg scenario. I totally understand that. But as soon as you get some traffic in, then try not to let it go to waste. Leverage your traffic, leverage the visitors that you get to actually start running some tests and see what actually works, because that way you run a test and you find out what works better and you learn from that as well. And the next time you're going to try another version and you improve it a little bit more, and over time your conversions will just go up and up, and over time everything will be simpler and simpler because your conversions are better throughout your website. And again, if you want to get more leads and traffic into your business by also leveraging split testing, then definitely check out UpViral, because as I mentioned before, it's super easy to run split tests. It's the world's most complete viral referral marketing system, and you can just add split testing, or like you just create a second page and it will automatically do all the split testing for you. Nothing difficult at all. So I hope you appreciate this video, and I'll talk to you all soon.